Hey everybody, welcome to this week's live stream. I hope you're all doing great today. So we're going to get started 2 minutes early today. Oh my God. So we're going to turn up the blanks that we made, a couple of them from last week. So what I was doing last week was trying to figure out if I could tame some of the color bleed. There are certain colors that just bleed. I would imagine that most of the pigments, when you're talking about like liquid dyes, liquid pigments, I would imagine that technically most of them do bleed a little bit together. The thing is, there's certain colors that just like totally stand out to your eyes. So if I just mixed up red and white, probably not going to be a big deal. Maybe there's a little bit, lighter shade of red here and there, but it's not obvious to your eyes. But yellow and blue, by far the worst culprit on the planet. Like pretty much, like I gave up trying to even mix them. So I thought, let's try some different techniques that I've never tried before and see if we can't maybe tame that color mixture. Another one that happens is orange and blue. That one seems to, you get little like darker, kind of almost brownish areas. That one's not too bad, and I still make blanks, like the gator blanks. I don't have a problem with that one. Yellow and purple is another one. That can, again, kind of give you some kind of like brownish areas. Again, that one's not that bad though. So I thought, let's try some different techniques. I even have some other ones that I have some ideas. I don't know if they're going to work or anything like that, but let's see what we got. So we tried split cup, just pouring it straight down where you have kind of two lines in the mold. We were making pen blanks. So we did that with the gator. No, what did we do? We did that with the Wolverine, the yellow and blue ones. We also tried the split cup and then stirring it, which I was pretty sure that was not going to work out too well. And then the other one was 2 cups, pouring the orange and blue and just kind of dumping back and forth and not stirring it. So I'm curious to see how these turned out because, like I said, I've never tried any of these methods before, so who knows. I don't have a lot of confidence in the yellow and blue ones. There's just, that one's like really terrible. And it turns, there's little green areas, and to your eyes, it just pops out. So it turns into a 3-color blank. But anyway, so let's switch to the overhead view. So here's some results. I got my blanks. So I decided let's go for a kitless fountain pen for the orange and blue. This one I have the most hope with, so I decided let's go for a fountain pen. And I haven't turned a kitless pen for a long time. This one is the dividing where we just dumped. We didn't mix or anything like that with the yellow and blue. Now on this side, it looks pretty decent. There are some areas you can probably tell where there's a little bit of green going on, but this is the outside of the blank too. So now on this side, not as awesome. But again, it is the outside and you get kind of thinner areas. Like it rolls down the sides and you're kind of mixing 2 thin spots. So I don't know. Don't have a lot of hope for that. And then we also just poured and then stirred. Check these out. I mean, see what I mean? Green. It just, So I pre-turned one of those just into like one of these sample blanks, and this is what you get. It just, obviously this blank, these 2 colors were for like the Michigan Wolverines. I'm pretty sure no Michigan fan is going to want this blank. So unless you're going for blue, green, and yellow, I'd probably stay away from stirring it for sure. And then these were the gator blanks. These turned out, look at how these poured. So obviously you can tell where I dumped orange. They're kind of crazy looking on the outside. I don't think that this is what it's going to look like on the inside, but I got to be honest, don't have a clue. Not too sure. And I poured pretty big blobs per pour, kind of. So I don't know, but that's what we got set up for the kitless blank. Very excited to see how these things turn out. So this is just a Sierra. Again, low hope for anything coming out good on this one. So I just decided to kind of tube it with the Sierra. Probably not even going to make a pen out of that one. But we'll see. Who knows? I do have a good friend who is a Michigan fan. So if it turns out good, I'll make him a pen. Now, there's one other thing that I wanted to share with you guys before we get going. So a couple times ago, we tried this I was trying to go for like kind of a translucent-ish blank. And this was the results that we got on this one. It was a mixture of, how did I do it? I got to look this up actually. We did misty blanks. Okay, so we did mint. Is that right? Yeah. All right, so we did mint green mica powder. Okay. And I think we added some green. Is this right? Mint green. Yeah, okay, that's right, I guess. We added some mint green mica powder, and then in the other cup we had just macro sparkle. So like that, you're kind of that glittery. It's really not a mica powder. It's more kind of a glitter, similar to the 24 karat nugget gold ones. Pretty much the same thing. It's like a super fine glitter. We put that with just a transparent dye, mixed them together, and this was the result that we got. And it's pretty cool looking. I like it. It's not exactly what I was going for. You can see that the macro sparkle is just kind of everywhere in here. I was trying to go for like swirling swoops of the glittery stuff. So one thing that I wanted to try out was I wanted to reverse how I did that. I wanted to add the macro sparkle in with the mica powder. So I put these two together and then just had dye in the other cup. That's it. And just by switching those two things out, this is the difference. This is the result in that. And you're going to get a lot more areas that are transparent. All the darker areas, that's the transparent dye only. And so it's just kind of an interesting thing. I just wanted to kind of share with you guys. And so in the pen blank boxes, the pen blank club, half of you will get the first one, which I don't think there's any better or worse one. I think they're both interesting. I like both of them. But I wanted to try that out and just share the look of the blank that you get. It's subtle, kind of. But I do kind of think that the macro sparkle was a little bit more tame. Like it's stuck. What I was trying to do was see if you add a bunch of other junk in with the really light glitter stuff, will it kind of hold on to it more? And I don't know. It seems like it did a little bit. There's more kind of swirls and things. I don't know. Just wanted to share, you can kind of do things a couple different ways. Sometimes you just got to switch the steps and see what you get kind of thing. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. So let's see who's in the chat today. I'll switch to the intro screen so you can look at my beautiful face. We got Mike McEwen and Bruce. Kim's here, Vinny, Jennifer. How's it going, guys? And let's see here. Mark's here. Is there any questions or anything also? I'm going to look for that. Homer Lex is in the house. What's up, man? And David. Let's see. Anybody else? Oh, Chad Schimmel's here. What's up, dude? Nice. Oh. Nice. I can't wait to see what you make. That's going to be sweet. I saw the post. Carrie was making one. She was like decked out. She was like serious about it. So I can't wait to see what she makes. That's going to be pretty cool. So anyway, guys, let's get over to the lathe. I think let's just knock out this Sierra first. It'll be kind of quick. If it's super apparent that there's just green streaks like in it, I'm not even going to polish it or anything like that. We're just going to kind of toss it in the bin and move on, because I'm a lot more interested in this gator looking blank, gator's colors. And I'm more interested in turning a fountain pen, frankly. So let's switch over to the turning view. So let's get this rolling. And what I did all the milling operations on this, obviously. Kind of glossed over that. So I just thought I'd get this ready and then turn it. And it went really, I got to be honest, I haven't made one of these for a long time. And I was like, I think it only took me 30 minutes at the most. That's like start to finish. Like I had to switch everything over on the lathe and everything. That's including setup and all that. Maybe 30 minutes to get this done, these two parts. Now I didn't make a section part That's not going to be very telling. It's not going to help me tell me what the blanks are looking like as much. So I'll do that down the road if that turns out good. But oh, I missed the hole. Jeez, probably dented my the cone on that thing. Oopsies. This thing scooted over, and yeah. So the operations are always the same. I always do all those operations exactly the same. And frankly, I think that you're better off watching Chad's videos on that stuff if you are interested. I'm not sure, is Mike in the chat? If you could maybe, or even, is Chad hold on a minute. We gotta do a little bit of checking. Oh yeah. So Chad's, if you want to go grab, I don't know, you might be kind of busy. I'm just gonna do it real quick here. I think there's a playlist is what I'm trying to find with yeah, there we go. Custom, they got a lot of good videos. So I'm gonna just grab this link real quick because I knew where it was. Bang! So if you're interested in making the kitless blank or kitless pens, check out that playlist because there's all kinds of really good information. Not only just because like once you understand how it works, it's not like the milling part is really not that hard. Like I know it looks like it's like complicated, but it's a lot of steps. And I still, I have a cheat sheet. And I still use the cheat sheet because unless I made these things every day, there's no way I would remember every step, every size. So I have all these things written down, and like that's the key, right? Square the face, and I follow these things. I literally have a little magnet and I just stick this above my lathe and I just go through the motions. But we're talking about like all the steps are literally drilling, like squaring faces, center drilling, and then like tapping threads, which none of those things are hard at all. Like they're super simple. It's just the complication of all the steps in order. So once you have that down, these things are really not that hard to make. There are some tools that you're gonna need that kind of sucks on one hand, but once you have the tools, then you don't really need anything else. Like you don't have to go buy kits and stuff like that. The only thing you're gonna need is nibs. That's where the money comes in. But at the same time, you can also, if you're gonna sell these things, you're gonna sell them for a lot more than a Sierra, or even a cigar or whatever pen. So anyway, pretty cool. Just wanted to kind of mention that. So, but the other thing is in that playlist, Chad kind of covers like clips because I don't do that. I'm not into that stuff. That's just more steps. And I don't, it's not a big deal. Like the 3-piece pens are fine for me. But he's got that kind of stuff, and it's a really good playlist of information, and done well also. All right, so we got the dust collector on. Let's fire this thing up and get going here. that was pretty quick. Just gonna finish up the ends here. And so again, this was the one that I just poured out of the split cup and did not stir it. It's kind of lumpy. I was kind of going fast on this one. All right. I'm gonna get you guys kind of sideways to it. Hold on a minute, I gotta get my power cords. Oh goodness. All right. Huh. Well, this side look. I'm going to turn the dust collector off because I feel like I'm yelling at you guys. This side is pretty good. There's a little bit of green. Oh, it's having trouble focusing. Let me get this thing out of the way. There we go. That's not bad. I mean, there's a little bit, just a little bit, but I would say that would pass, personally. I'm not angry at that one. I ain't mad at you. That's not bad either, guys. Huh. I mean, there's a little bit. There is a little bit of bleed. I can get as close as I can. But I mean, like, from like holding it a foot away from your face, a couple feet, that's not bad. That is by far the best yellow and blue blank I have ever poured. It's kind of cool looking too. Huh. That is really surprising. Okay, well, we're gonna have to polish this thing up. Wow. I'm literally blown away. I really did not think that was gonna work. Huh. Well, we may have solved the riddle. Oh. Wow. Let's see here. Step 5. Yeah, it's definitely thicker on the magic juice. Yeah. Yeah, but Kim, the problem is, again, it's you don't want green in a Michigan Wolverine. Their colors are yellow and blue, so these colors are dead on for their colors. But their rival is green. Their colors are green, so you don't. I'm now, like I said, it's not that big of a deal. It's not the worst thing, if you're just putting a blue and white blank together, like, whatever. But for that specific thing, for a team like that where their rival color is green, it's a problem. I don't know. Like I said, I'm pretty blown away. Now there is still a hint, and I don't love that. But That might be okay. I'd have to do quite a bit. Like if I was going to add these to my website and sell them as Michigan blanks, I would have to do this, you know, pour batches over and over and test a blank out of each batch just to kind of make sure that, you know, I'm getting the same result every time. You know, this wasn't just some kind of fluke. I randomly poured it in some perfectly perfect way to where it did this. Now, I've been so far, I've been really blown away with the split cup thing, because I really, you know, we've done the what's it called, the I can't think of the word. I am totally blank right now. My brain literally isn't functioning. What the heck is that called? Dirty pour. The dirty pour method we've done, and that just turns out not the way that I want it to. It just mixes stuff up and it's kind of weird. It's a cool effect, but it's not what I want, you know. And so I was kind of thinking like, okay, you just pour from two sides, is like, I really didn't think it was going to keep the two colors like separate as it's going in the tube. I figured there'd be a lot more sloshing together. And so I've been pretty blown away every single time I've done a split cup. You know, even with three colors, it still maintains a pretty reasonable separation between the three. Like it's pouring it pretty like a column of color. So I have seen that in all the ones that I've done where I've used the split cup, and you don't mix it up or anything like that, or you're not moving the cup, like you hold the cup very still and just let it come out. You get a pretty good separation between the 2 or 3 or however many colors, even in a little 3/4 inch pipe. So not so amazed at that. It's just the color bleed issue. It's real, guys. It's real. Yeah, David, the caps kind of, I have the same issue with those types of caps on dyes, pigments. It's really tough though. There's really not great alternatives necessarily, like extremely better alternatives. You can get ones, and they used to actually have the ones with just the little red cap. I actually have one that I can share. And Divine Pigments did the same thing too. Like back in the day, they used the ones that had these little red caps. So I'll just pull out one of my older Divine Pigment bottles. Share. Every one of these things gets your fingers full of dye. I'm just going to do it on this camera over here. No, not that one. This one. So these ones in Magic Juice used to come that way, and they're okay, but you know, I mean, as you can see on this Pigment bottle, it's all over the place. When you shake it, luckily when you shake it, you don't have to worry. I do kind of like the fact that you're like, okay, the cap's on, it's not going to go all over the place. It's hard to tell the difference between, is the cap on or closed sometimes, you know. And these things this is a brand new bottle, it hasn't even been opened, but like here's the Conch Aqua. You know, you always have some junk on the top. So it's not like I really want to stick my finger on top of that thing to keep it closed. That happens on these ones even too, but so those are there's those two, and then the only other option you have are, well, there's a few other ones, but that'll actually allow stuff to come out. You've got the old Alumilite ones, and Alumalite's gone to these twisty thing too. But the problem with these ones is these things come, number one, these things come, like there's like I actually have some, I'm gonna, for some of the newbies, I'll give you guys a little bit of a history lesson, because I actually like those ones, so I have some, I actually bought some, like extras. Where the heck did they go? Ah, nope. Oh. Here they are. Because I buy the 16 ounce, or is that what they are, 16 ounce bottles of Alumilite dye, and then I actually put them into these types of bottles usually. But the problem is, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. See how there's like a thing inside this cap, inside this thing? There's like a, let me get a toothpick, pointer kind of thing. See that thing? I gotta aim this at you guys. Get on camera. It's hard. See that little thing in the middle? It's like a super tiny hole. And so the problem was originally you'd get your Alumilite dye and it's way thicker than wants to go through that like super tiny hole. And you would squeeze and squeeze and squeeze until, let me go grab a bottle. I can probably show you guys what happens. Trying to get the stuff out, and oh, I don't know if it'll do it. I think I might need to have some liquid in here, but what would happen is the thing would come flying off. You would squeeze the tip out, and then you would dump all your dye into the cup. So what I do with these things, and so the thing is, there's ways around this. You can fix these ones, and I like these generally a little bit better, typically. Because you can also put a cap on it. So not only is it capped, but you've also got a tip that you can kind of regulate how much comes out. And so what I would do is I would just grab an ice pick and just kind of squeeze it, shove it into that thing and widen that hole. And that way you can kind of customize how much, depending on how wide the ice pick and all that stuff is, you can kind of figure out how wide you want that, and it can be very clean sometimes. Now this one's not, but it's also like 10 years old. So those are like, pretty much those are the three options you have. And so I'm not entirely surprised that they are using the twisty ones, because they're kind of simple. It's all in one thing, but I don't love them either. So that's a dissertation on bottles. Let's go back to turning. Struggle is real, guys. Yeah, most people have dumped one in their resin. I totally did. And it only takes one time that you do that, and you learn, and you get really mad, and you ruin your cup of resin. But like, they needed to put like instructions on those things, because almost everyone I know has dumped one. And back in the day, that was the only option you had. It's not like they had different things. But okay, so we got that one done. Let's do some of this. TBC bushings. What's up, Brian? Will Zona paper transfer colors? No. Because it's not like it'll, I mean, it's a solid thing. So I don't know how it would do that. I mean, the liquid might look kind of like that, but it's not gonna, once you wipe it off, it'll come off. Okay, and then we got some gray, and we'll use our magic juice to finish things off. Man, I got a pen for my buddy. He's actually coming back. So we grew up together, and him and his family are coming up to, I think, see his parents for Christmas. So, well, that is what they're doing. See, they're meeting up with them. Christmas, so I will have a pen for him. How cool is that? See what he has to say about it. Being an actual Michigan fan. He went to dental school there. Pretty cool. Okay, so switch over to the magic juice. Finish this guy up, and then we'll start turning those other guys. Turning the fountain pens is pretty quick too, because it's not like there's a lot of shaping or anything that you're doing. You're not even really taking off a whole lot. The bodies, you know, you're going to take off more material, but for the cap, I mean, you're barely even taking off material on the caps. So, depending on what size blank you start with, I guess, but mine are 3/4. If you're starting with like a 7/8, or even something cast in a PVC pipe, which would give you like a 13/16, I think. 13 or 11. Let's see here, 3/4. Yeah, 13/16. 11/16 is smaller than 3/4. Math is hard. Okay, I'm gonna go get some of the blue towels. That's what I like to use for these things. I put my pigments back. All right. Mark's here. What's up, man? How's things in Utah? You gotten snow over there yet? You've gotten a little bit. I'm kind of blown away. One of the ski resorts in Reno, Mount Rose, is already open. I know that we did get a little bit of snow, and they've been making snow, but I'm like, wow. Kind of blew me away. I don't know who else is open. Oh, let's speed this up. Step 1. I think out of all of them, step 1 is my favorite, because frankly, it's like the hero of the group. Like, you could literally stop at step 1 and be like, that's good enough. Like, I mean, it's not, you know, if you're going for like super glossy, but I mean, I've seen some pens made, and I've made some myself that were like less glossy than just using step 1. It transforms it right before your eyes. Look at that. Then you do that, and it's already glossy. Like, okay. Like, I could stop right there, and like, most people are going to be like, yeah, that's pretty nice. It's a nice looking pen. And then obviously step 2 is my least favorite. Oh, it's cold there too. Yeah, it's been kind of, I don't know if it's really that cold or not. I've been cold personally, but I tend to be kind of cold. My hands get really cold. And I guess technically I've always kind of been like that, but it's really annoying. But like, pretty much, I've been trying to not have to pull out the gloves already, because it's like not, I don't feel like it's that cold. It's not like it's snowed here in town, just up in the mountains, but it's kind of a pain having to wear gloves all the time. My hands are frozen. You know? Oh, Bryan Head's open. Huh. We used to go to Bryan Head when I was in college. Went to UNLV. was the closest. I really don't like Bryan Head. I gotta be honest. Forget how long a drive. It's like 2 hours, I want to say it was. I think it was like 2 hours. And like, frankly, for my time and money, give me Mammoth any day. Twice as long, I know, but twice as good. Actually, I would say it's even more than twice as good. All right, so step 4. This thing's already looking glossy. I'm not as I'm not really paying as much attention to. Well, to be honest, guys, before my knee surgery, when I could actually snowboard for sure, I really didn't start going until January, late December, especially if we got good snow in December. But the problem is, it's just like nothing's open. It's super crowded, and you got a bunch of idiots up there. And I'm like, this just isn't even really worth it. Because like most of the places I want to go are out in the trees, you know, where you need to have coverage. So, I wouldn't even go till January anyway. This year especially, because I definitely can't snowboard yet. No way. Thinking maybe by like, I don't know. There may be a chance I can get up and try it out at least, see how it goes in like January or February, maybe. I don't know. The surgeon was like, I mean, if this is something you really like doing, like I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but if this is kind of your thing, then go for it. Just be careful. So the surgeon was like, whatever. Now I just got to get my PT guy to get me in shape. And I've been progressing pretty good the last few weeks with that stuff, so I'm pretty happy about that. I don't know, a month or two more. I think I might be ready to try it out. All right, step 6. Look at that shine. I can see it already. Just give it a little wipey. All right. Snowbird. Yeah, I haven't really been to too many places outside of this area. You know, Bryan Head, you know, really Mammoth isn't, I would consider that this area. Where else have I gone? We went, that buddy actually, the guy that likes Michigan, he lives in Colorado, so we've gone to a couple places there, but I mean, that's not too bad, guys. I don't know. Let me put my glasses on. So this looks great if you can't see. I'll tell you that. It's not bad. This side's not that. Oh, let me get on camera. How about that? You know, a little bit down there isn't so awesome. And this side is like pretty stellar. Huh. Still a little bit though. That's. I wouldn't care if green wasn't the devil to Michigan fans. That's the only issue. But I don't know. Now, obviously, the other way that I can deal with this is, and I think I mentioned this before, is to just be like, okay, if you want Michigan blanks, I will pour you a blue and I will pour you a yellow. And you do whatever you want, connecting them together, you know. And I kind of like that plan, honestly. You know, if you're making a fountain pen or, you know, like a bespoke pen, you can just make a blue cap or yellow cap or whatever, and a blue, the opposite color body. And I think that would be pretty cool. Like, that's not bad. I don't know. I don't know if that'll really sell necessarily though either. The cool thing is though, if you do that and you segment those things, I've seen people do, you know, like almost like it looks like the socks kind of that, you know, like green, like let's say it was like a Packers or whatever, and you get little bits, and kind of put a bunch of colors together. Those look really awesome. The kind of segmented ones on the football pen kits. I've seen people do those with my blanks that I've made solid colors for them. So that's a way to go. Like, I mean, but the blank isn't ready. And if you're not set up to kind of segment those, it's not that hard, but if that's not your thing, then you're not going to buy them like that. So I don't know. Okay, so let's switch things over. We're going to turn this Gator's style pen. Knock that thing out of there. Gotta find the right, so I don't know. Let's go for the body first. That'll tell us, I think, a little bit more, because we get to get a little bit deeper into the blank that way. So just gotta find the right collet. Switch it out, and we're ready to go. Yeah, that would be a good one for the Blue Angels too, you're right. I think there may be a little bit more, their yellow's a little bit more dark, like a kind of orangey, possibly. If you want to split hairs, which I do. I've been having a blast recreating, coming up with new dye recipes. Because the pigments versus the Alumilite dyes, the way that I was doing things before, it operates differently. It's not exactly the same thing. The way that I'm doing things, and so it's been kind of an interesting thing. Sorry about that. I got like a metal shaving or something in here. I've been kind of learning. There's different ways to do things with this with the pigments. I think you have I have more options. There's more that I can do. I have more control over a lot of things. It's pretty cool. So I'm hoping that if I do end up switching over, I think that the colors are actually going to be more precise. I think I'll have more control over that. So I'm excited about that. The only problem is this doesn't make me any money. So yeah, this is more of just kind of a fun project. And if it works, then it can save me a little bit, but we'll see. All right, so how's that doing? That's kind of bouncy. That's okay though. So I'm just gonna hit this with my center drill. So that the tailstock has something to hold on to. The live center. Gets a better grip. If you just try to stick the live center into the flat blank, like it just keeps digging it out. There's no friction to actually hold anything. It just keeps trying to dig further into the blank. So always make sure that, unless you just can't for some reason, try to make sure that you've got enough material to drill with your center drill and get that cone-shaped, hole in the end so you can get a much better grip on it. It's going to make turning a lot easier. Things are going to go smoother for you if you can do that. You haven't even. I finally got all of our, well, maybe not leaves, but we had pine needles, and I already, I don't know if you guys have like the trash service, but we have like a yard, or like yard trash, whatever. Lawn and yard trash is like a separate bin, and I filled it up twice, and so the problem is you got to wait 2 weeks every time, like to get it, because they don't come every week with that and pick that one up. So it took me like a month and a half to get the pine needles out of my backyard. Okay, so we're ready to go here. Now, I actually have a cheat sheet even for turning these. I've kind of found a size that works, that I like. So let me go grab that. Let's see here. And I just drew a little diagram, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't, you know, I'm not a professional pen maker, but I have kind of my diameters for the cap, the body, the section, and this just works for me. Now, you don't need to copy that, or if you want to, you can, you know, pause and go back. It's just, it kind of works for me. I like the lengths and everything. They seem to fit together, look, you know, right, like dimensions wise. But, you know, this also is using a 14 millimeter cap tap, you know, like where the cap and the body meet. And I don't think that those numbers necessarily are going to work for every, you know, 13, 12, probably not, you know, definitely not the diameters of the blank and all that. I'm going to take off these gloves because I don't need them. Let's see here. The roses are blooming again. Sweet. Other Utah Mark. I like that. Loma's back. What's up? Glad you could make it and join us for some fun. A little bit of a, might be like an air bubble or something in there. That's weird. Hopefully I'll be able to turn that out. You started turning. You were excited. Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that. What kind of stuff do you like to turn? You doing pens or bowls or? This is a standard. I've found that on the when I'm doing these, you know, like the longer blanks like that aren't basically the non-kit blanks, the negative rake, because it's more of like a scraping action, you get more chatter. And so this kind of cuts a little bit better. And you don't get that chatter. It's just because the tensile strength, these things can bend a little bit more when you're just kind of holding it by 2 points. When you're doing a normal, you know, like the kit style, you've glued the blank to a rigid brass tube, and so it doesn't deflect unless you didn't glue it properly. This thing isn't going to be, and they're short usually. I mean, the Vertex and some of those are a little bit longer, but I mean, it's not like it's really flexing a lot. So negative rake for, you know, most things is kind of how I roll, but I just found that it works a lot better to use a standard when you're doing this. Feels like I turned away that, whatever that was. Might have even been something in my mold. It was just on the outside of the blank. All right, so I'm gonna double check. I usually go a little bit slower with these. Double check. I know that I'm not there yet, but let's see where we're at here. Can't see anything, so I gotta turn a light on from this side. Actually, I'm pretty close. This is about 16, a little over 16 millimeters on that end. This one's the same, 16, a little bit more. And I'm kind of fat. I'm usually kind of fat in the middle. And the ends are thinner. So I got a lot of work to do. I like to taper down. So just come in here. Let's double check again. Again, it's not that big of a deal. I have numbers, so I may as well take my time and check where I'm at. But if it's a little off, I'm not really. Now another thing is I'm gonna hack off, you know, probably right around there. I even have like the lengths. So yeah, so like right about there is where I'll hack it off. So that's where I need to know where I want my number to be. Still a little bit fat in the middle, looks like. All right, so we're getting there. Oh, magic wands, nice. That's cool. That's cool. Very cool. Take just a little bit more down on this end. And that's kind of, I don't know if you guys saw that, that's kind of a way that I use to try and taper things. It's kind of hard to like direct your chisel like a millimeter, you know. So I'll just take sequential passes, like one pass, you know, 3/4 inch long or whatever, and then take a pass that's like an inch long, inch and a half, and then one that's like, you know, 1 3/4, 2 inches, and just kind of keep doing that where I'm taking, you know, every time I got to take off more at the farthest end and less as the farther that I go in. And then I just kind of clean it up with a couple quick passes, light passes, hopefully. That's what I'm kind of going for. Now I like to just double check and make sure that I don't have like a big bulge In the middle, that's looking good. Yeah, see, I have that problem. It kind of expands in the middle a lot. I'm just going to take a few more passes in the middle. Maybe even just a little bit on this side. All right, I think that's good enough. So let's stop and look at this blank. How did this one turn out? I haven't even been looking at it. I've been paying attention to what I've been doing. It looks like, I'm kind of surprised. So we did not stir these ones. There is zero bleed. And, you know, this may just come down to, when I say the orange and the blue, my experience is with Alumilite dyes in Alumilite white, and there is zero color bleed. I mean, maybe like a little bit right there. But I mean, I would say that this has zero color bleed in it. Now, is this exciting? No. I don't love this pattern necessarily. And all I did was I just kind of dumped back and forth. But I would be curious to do that method and then stir it up. See how that turns out. It's not terrible, but definitely no color bleed. So that's nice. Oh, I should turn down my light. Might have been kind of blown out for you guys a little bit. All right, so let's sand this guy up. I'm not going to polish these today. I usually buff and do all that kind of stuff, so I'm just going to kind of sand it up, and we get the idea of what we're looking for the results on these things. I'll finish it later. Let's turn the dust collector off. God, that thing's so loud. So nice when you turn the dust collector off. All right, so let's see here. Are those split cup? No, this one wasn't a split cup. I'm gonna go show you, just for anybody. If you want last week's live stream, the replay's up. If you want to see exactly what we did, but I'll just show you kind of quickly what I did for that's the wrong thing, for these things. So I had my mold like that, and all I did for the orange and blue ones, I had 2 cups. I think I used, I'm pretty sure that I used paper cups so I could squeeze them down. Plastic cups are harder. The issue is, in the beginning, when the cup's full, you can pour, you only need to tip the cup like this far, and that's great. But when you start getting to the end, the tops of the cups run into each other, and you can't, So I think I know I used paper cups and squeezed them, but I basically just did this. And I didn't move or do anything. I was just kind of in the same place, and that's why we get that kind of two-sidedness to it. It kind of looks like a split cup. Now, this one was done with a split cup. I just used a two-slot split cup. In fact, I'll show you which split cup I even used, because I got it over here. Oh, I'm dropping them. So I used this split cup, and all I did, I just poured it. I didn't move or do anything like that. I tried to keep it as steady as possible, and that was the result that we got on those. Oh, and then for the, and I just turned this one down. So I did a couple different things with the Wolverine's colors. So these ones are obviously like the split cup. I didn't do anything. That one and this one where there's like kind of a line. These ones, we used the split cup, and then I went in with a stir stick, and these turned out terrible. There's half green in these. It's just not good. So yellow and blue is still a culprit. You got to really watch yellow and blue. I think the orange and blue, and these are basically divine pigments. you know, your tiger orange and your probably lagoon, I think is the color that would be similar. I'm not using their stuff, but they're their exact colors. But those two, I'm guessing you probably aren't going to get much color bleed in them. Depending if you stir it up really crazy and pour too early, there's factors involved, you know. But pretty much if you compare, I think the temperatures that I poured at and everything, most of the stuff was pretty much the same on both of these. So let's go back over here, do a little bit of sanding. All right, so I'm going to start out with, yeah, well, okay, so I you know, the ones that are terrible, when I say that, I'm coming from it, I need to get no green in these things. I have a very specific, oh, that's the wrong camera again. I have very specific needs, and we kind of talked about this earlier. This blank would be for the University of Michigan, which their colors are blue and yellow. Their rival colors, the Michigan State University, is green. And so I don't want any green if I'm going to be selling these as Michigan Wolverines blanks, right? So that's the thing. Like, is this the worst blank on the planet? No, it doesn't. I don't like this. It's kind of a weird thing to my eye. I don't love that personally. It's not my favorite blank, but my main thing is having green in there is just I can't do that. That ain't gonna fly. All right, so I didn't switch. Did I switch? I did switch, okay. Okay, so here we go. We'll do a little bit of 600 grit here. Because the whole thing for me, what I'm trying to do with this is right now I use a certain resin for my team color blanks, and I want to get away from using that resin, basically. But to do that, it's complicated. But the dyes that I'm using with that specific resin do not work with Alumilite Clear Slow, the one I usually use for everything else. And it's an Alumilite resin, but that resin, when you mix part A and part B together, it turns solid white. Like it's not a clear resin. And so the dyes that I needed to use for that are different, because I don't have to worry about, I'm using transparent dyes basically, but the resin turns opaque. If I want to do that with these guys, I got to use an opaque, pigment or dye to get the colors that I want. And I'm using liquid, the liquid variety, not micas. So it's a whole thing, and I'm trying to recreate all the dye recipes that I already have for different teams. And while I'm at it, I'm like, okay, well, I basically I don't make that one team with the blue and yellow because there was no way I couldn't pour them the way that I poured those blanks, without getting color bleed. So, right, every time no matter what I did, they bled and had green in them. So I figured let's try some different stuff out, because I'm using a slightly different, I'm using a different resin, I'm using different pigments. Not that I haven't used these types of pigments before, but not for this type of thing, really. All right, so we got our 600. I'm just going to do a little bit of lengthwise. I just want to get this kind of sanded up a little bit, get it smoother so we can kind of get a good look at it. But like I said, I don't know that you guys want to watch me buff these things. I prefer buffing these ones over magic juice, personally. Well, I don't know. Actually, now I'm kind of like, let's just go through the magic juice on these. See how they look. because I usually do for the other ones, but they're usually mica powders. So let's do a little experiment, because I haven't actually done one of these with magic juice. I would be curious to see how they turn out. I may spare you the cap though, doing the whole thing. So that was, I think we're going to try something new. A lot of times I'll sand and polish all the way through and then lop off the end. Let's just lop that thing off now. I apply a little bit more pressure with the 600 sometimes, and I'm always just kind of worried about it bending a little bit. Let's get nuts today, guys. What do you think? All right, so I like to make mine. Let's see, where'd my thing go? I don't have my. Let me get my marker out. I need some more Sharpies again. Somebody sent me a whole bunch of them, and it was awesome. And I think I might still have some of those left. But I use Sharpies a lot, like all over like at different places in the shop and everything. And I need an entire pack. Does anybody know if they make a white Sharpie? That would be pretty sweet if they did. Need to get a couple different colors. But white would be good. I have a silver one, and it works good on black and stuff, but I think if they had a white one, that would be pretty awesome. Let's go back to the 600 real quick. Clean up the end. Turn off the dust collector. So we can hear ourselves think. This edge a little bit. It's probably kind of sharp. Nine-year-old wants to turn too? Nice. Thing is, you know, if you can get kids turning, or honestly anything, it's not just like turning, but like if you get them started early, even if they're, you know, like they may not keep doing it like throughout their childhood, but they have that skill. Like they know, okay, I can do that. And so, you know, they may find that it's really awesome and they love it throughout, you know, childhood, but having those kind of skills is huge. And they learn so much quicker. So like really you can get a lot better, I think, if you start early. So that's really cool. All right, so that's looking pretty good. What do you guys think about that? I think I need to do a little bit more here. All right, now. Still looks like I've got some. Problem is, if you start out and you can see scratches and weird stuff with the first grit, if you haven't even gotten through that and it looks funky, it ain't gonna get any better. So you're better off fixing any issues right away. Ah, yes, the Turner's Warehouse Ornament Challenge is coming up, guys. The deadline, November 15th, as the scrolling thing across your screen says. So I got my ornaments in. I turned the wooden one. Go check out my post on Instagram, and there's a short on YouTube, I think. I might not have posted it to YouTube. But go check it out on Instagram. The other one turned out good. I did it a little different than the first one. Now, one thing I will say, so I did a CA finish because I kind of wanted to do something a little bit quicker than the UV, resin type thing. And again, I kind of have some issues with I don't have the curing station that I did before. So I don't know. So I decided to go with CA, and I changed the way that I turned that, but it was still pretty hard to get that CA finish on. It's definitely not the best CA finish I've ever made or put on something. So it does make things a little bit more difficult, but it turned out pretty decent. I think I like the first one the best. All right, and then we'll do some gray here. Did you guys get them already? The ornaments? Did it come already? Thank you, by the way. But you said that with such conviction that, like, did you get them already, or did you just see the post? So that would be crazy if you already have them. I think I sent them like 2 days ago or something. Maybe 3. Oh. Okay, so we got our oh man, I dropped my gray. I don't think it's worth trying to salvage it because it's got a bunch of dust chunks all over it now. Oh, wasted some Zona paper. Oh well. Let's see here. So I got to wipe that off. Okay. And we'll pull out let's do it again. We'll do our magic juice. Give it a shot. See, I haven't done one for a while. I kind of liked I think I know why I did that. I kind of liked doing buffing on these ones a little bit better. I'm really good at that. And so it was a little bit quicker for me to do, and I could get like perfect results. Sometimes there's a few little scratches in the, if I use the magic juice, because basically what that means is I didn't do as good a job with the sanding steps and the polishing papers as I should have. So a lot of times I'll just take them over to the buffers, but I haven't done one with magic juice for a while, so let's give it a look, see what we get. The nice thing is I can always go out and buff it. You know, if I still see scratches, I can just go and buff it, that's fine. So I do think that, you know, magic juice is kind of the way to go, I think, for most people, but it isn't a bad idea to invest someday, if you have the money, in a buffing setup, because I think it can kind of help you get those like difficult scratches out, like at the end, like when you're done, you can go back and buff it and just take out a few scratches and you're good to go. I would personally prefer that to having to go back and sand again, you know. Chad, you guys have the 3-wheel systems, right, at Turner's Warehouse now? Like the Beal was, because that's what I got, is the Beal setup. But Beal went out of business. And there wasn't anything super special about the Beal ones. Okay. Telling you, step one, that's where it's at. I'm on the TV now? Sweet. That's cool. Technology these days, I'm telling you. Thing's probably going to get wrapped up on this thing. Who does number 2 work for? Yeah, it didn't even get wrapped up. Huh. Maybe it doesn't do that as much when it's colder. Oh, it was trying right there. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you're doing these, you know, this bespoke blanks, you got to really be careful about those threads on the body if you're going to buff them. So just a little bit of a kind of a warning. If you buff the threads are going to be messed up. Basically, you're gonna wear them down, and so that can cause serious problems. Now, one thing you could do is just put some like painter's tape over the threads while you're doing the buffing, or you can just try to tempt fate and try to keep them out of the way. You know, I do usually tape them myself, but I think you can get away with not doing it. I just kind of like, I'm one of those people, like if I'm at this is literally the last step of the entire process. I've been, you know, working on this for, you know, however long hours. And if I can just put tape on something and make sure that doesn't screw up the whole thing, I'm gonna do it. Like I'd much rather do that than tempt, you know, screwing up the whole thing at the end. That just makes me mad. Things are going to be thrown. All right, so step four. Step four. It's looking pretty good. It's very glossy. I can already tell. The gloss factor's there. Glossification. Oh, you got, yeah, I was pretty sure you had those buffing wheels. Drop a link if you want. I don't know if you're by a computer or not. Like I said, I don't think the buffing wheels are necessary for people. I think that Magic Juice is really a great way. I mean, frankly, you can just use the Zona papers and go all the way up. That's what I did on the ornament, you know, a couple weeks, or was it last week? Whenever. That's how I did my ornament, and it turned out great. You do just have to be kind of diligent. I mean, with any of these things, you have to be diligent going through, or you're going to have some scratches at the end. It's not going to be as shiny as you want. But they all work. They're all doing the same thing. You know, they all get you to the same point. The one thing about buffing, though, because we did an experiment, and I used to buff everything. That's I was a big, like, you got to get a buffing wheel set up or else it ain't going to work kind of person. And at least, you know, for me. And we did experiments, and the Magic Juice, it was definitely shinier. So I would, if you do buffing and you stop at the, I don't think that the wax wheel does anything. It's not increasing shine. And it's not buffing, it's not doing anything. It's putting on a wax coating that's probably just gonna come off and leave fingerprints, I found, on your pen. So I never did the wax wheel personally. I just basically do a two-step. The triple E wheel and then white diamond, but white diamond really doesn't get it that shiny. And so it's a good idea to have something as like a final step after the buffing even. There are higher buffing wheels, higher, like, you know, softer buffing wheels, and you can get like a softer even compound. But I think that you're better off just going with like a polish type thing. Turner's Warehouse sells the ring bling, and that stuff is an excellent final step if you're gonna just do like after white diamond buffing wheels. Hit it with some ring bling and you're good to go. Even if you're just doing the Zona papers all the way through, a little bit of ring bling at the end is a pretty good way to go. Or if you have Magic Juice, you can just hit it with like five and or just 6. It's, you know, it's nice to have everything. It's good to have it all. Oh, gotta have all the toys. But if you're looking for one solution, Magic Juice I think is probably the way to go. Because it's so cheap and it works great. Oh, you're turning? Never mind. I'll drop a link later. So we got our number 6 here. So the other thing is, if you guys are getting into these kitless pens, one really good and cheap thing to grab, to pick up, is a sonic cleaner. Because I got all this junk all over the threads, you know, and I could have maybe taped or covered while I was doing this. Got to be kind of careful trying to get stuff out of the threads, even polish. Because even this paper towel technically can jack my threads up. You don't want to. You want to just use a little bit of pressure, not much. But a sonic cleaner will fix all this stuff. It'll clean everything up. Just pop the pens in there and you're good to go. So let's see here. In fact, I'm going to pop this one in before we even start. Why is that glittery? That's weird. Huh. There's actually some glitter looking stuff in there. Was it glittery? We didn't add any glitter. Huh. That's weird. But anyway, there's a little bit of glitter in there, it looks like. That's looking pretty good. So I'm going to pop this, you can see it around the rim there. There's some junk up there. There's probably some junk on the inside. It's also a good thing to do before you put this on the mandrel to turn it, is to pop it in the sonic cleaner. Because no matter what you do, I blow this thing out with high pressure, like 90 psi air. I even have a little, like a pipe cleaner doohickey. I'm in there trying to clean all the junk out from the milling. And I'm tapping it and doing all these things, and there's still junk in there. So I can do all that stuff 3 times and then pop this into the sonic cleaner and more junk comes out of there. So it's a good thing to have and even do it a couple times. So I did sonic clean this before, but the thing is, if there's a bunch of shavings and junk trapped at the bottom of this, your blank won't go over the mandrel. It won't, like, it'll start messing stuff up. It may screw your threads up even. So the sonic cleaner is a pretty good one. And I mean, honestly, I think they're like 10 bucks. Like, you need the cheapest one. That's it. Just something that'll hold a pen, basically. And that's, nothing fancy whatsoever. So I got that thing going, and I'll show you how, it cleans it up. It gets all the junk off of there. All right, so let's see. Oh, nice. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Okay, so here's the second guy. What time is it? Oh, we're doing okay. Oh, that thing's tight. Ah, there we go. Popped it. And you can get all the mandrels and all those goodies at Turner's Warehouse. These are the ones from Turner's that I'm using. Eventually, I want to make my own, like kind of custom, but these work fine. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm particular about certain things, and it'd be kind of nice to have specific ones. It seems loose. For my needs, let's say. Mainly, the biggest one is actually the cap. I would like, because I do specific dimensions on things. And so eventually I do have a metal lathe at my disposal. I just haven't bought stock and, to make it and actually fully defined, all the dimensions that I need. So someday I want to make my own, but these work great. I haven't made my own because I don't really need to. It's not pertinent because these ones work fine. All right, so same drill. We're gonna, let me get this thing out of the way. We're gonna center drill. Okay. Yeah, it's really quite nice that Turner's Warehouse has all the stuff that you need to do this, because I want to say like 5 years ago, man, I mean, you had to piecemeal stuff together, and it either cost a fortune trying to buy, like the taps and dies, especially like the triple lead, if you wanted the triple start threads. For you to buy those things direct from like the manufacturers, it would have been a fortune if you could even do it. A lot of times it just wasn't even available, and so what would end up happening is if you'd have to get in on a group buy through a forum or whatever, and it was a pain trying to piece everything together. The tenon maker thing, tenon cutter, is a game changer. It was for me, and that wasn't even available back then. That helps you just cut the perfect tenon You know, so for the, oh, what was that? For the threads on the body, I would kind of struggle. I mean, I was fine, I was okay, but you know, to put like the perfect diameter, you need to kind of have the right diameter for if you're cutting threads into something. And so it would take me forever to sneak up on that size. And a lot of times it would be kind of like off, like not straight, not perpendicular or whatever, parallel. I don't know, not straight. And that tenon cutter, just a huge game changer. Same thing with the what is this thing called? The Neil's Niche stuff. Now you could get this from Neil's Niche back in the day, but now that Turner's Warehouse has it all under one roof, all the taps, dies, drills, center drills, whatever you need, they got. It's great. Just makes life a lot easier. Okay, ditch the gloves. Don't need those. Let's get a drink of water. How about that? One cool project that's coming up, guys, and I haven't mentioned this yet, really. That's not it. Where did it go? Let's see if it's in here. I don't know when I'm going to get on this, but kind of need to do it before Christmas. I'd like to, because that's kind of the idea. Ooh, fruit snacks. I might have to partake in some of that. There it is. Check it out, guys. Turner's Warehouse came out with Damascus kitchen knife blanks. I don't know if you can see this thing. It's packaged so well. Can't even get in there. I haven't even opened that box yet. Because the problem was, I was worried that Gretchen might be watching. She's been like popping into my streams, so I can't share any goodies, good news with you guys. But I've been wanting to make a kitchen knife for her, and me, really, for a while. And then I saw Turner's Warehouse started carrying the Damascus ones, and I'm like, oh. Now the one thing I forgot, I didn't buy the pins, so I do need to get some pins. But we're going to make some knife scales, and I'm going to make a knife for Gretchen for Christmas. So hopefully she's not watching right now. I don't think she is, because she's on vacation with her mom right now. And I doubt that they're sitting around watching my stream. But so that'll be a fun project to work on the stream. And look at what I got. I should have opened this way earlier, because I got some fruit snacks. Sweet. Yeah, Buford ink. In fact, those mandrels are actually Buford ink mandrels. Okay. I'm going to peek at the Sonic Cleaner real quick and see. Okay, so there's like 30 seconds left. I'm just going to munch on some fruit snacks. Does anybody have any questions while we're kind of waiting? That way I can pull it out, dry it off, and show you guys. So the open house is coming up in, now I forget, is it March? And I'll be down there for the open house. Ah, there it goes. Yeah, Buford doesn't carry, the tenon cutter was actually designed and I think patented by Jim Hines. He's the one that came up with that thing, and he makes them. So Buford is not going to be coming out with that, I don't think, because they can't. All right. Just going to dry that off a little bit. So as you can see, the threads are all clean now, no junk. Everything's good to go. I'll just let that kind of air dry over here somewhere. Find a safe place for that. There we go. Okay, so let's turn this cap up. The caps, like I said, they go really fast because you're really not taking a whole lot of material off. Even the body, really. Now, again, it depends on what we're talking about, because I'm making a 14 millimeter thread, and that's a pretty fat pen. Oh, February, okay. I couldn't remember if you started with February and moved to March, or you started with March and moved it to February. That's right, February. All right, let's stop and see where we're at here. Ooh, I think we're almost there. Yeah, pretty much there on the end. Got to do a little bit of tapering. There's a little bit of a kind of a bump in the middle. Time to do some sanding. So like I said, these things go quick, caps. Now the worst one, I wouldn't say, I don't want to frame it that way, but I would say the most difficult part is going to be your section. Just because you're taking off a lot of material, they're very small, and they are the easiest thing to snap, basically, or break, catch a little bit. That's another thing where I'd like to kind of make my own mandrel, because I have an idea of a different way to make them that I think would be kind of cool. I do something myself. I actually put something on the end to make sure that the threads don't get messed up. There's different ways you can do stuff. Yeah, 600. I'm actually going to get out. I've been sanding with those pieces of paper for a little while now, so we're going to pull something new out. Need to make some more sandpaper bits. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. Good. That's a good point, Kev. Probably make the blanks. Maybe we'll just act like we're gonna make some knife scales today, and then nobody says anything in the comments. Hopefully, she doesn't watch. That's why it's been kind of weird. She usually doesn't watch the streams. I don't think. But she's kind of, I don't know, just had Saturdays free lately. Usually she's working on Saturdays, so it's like I don't have to worry. I can just do whatever I want if it was for her. But I don't know. Now I'm like, So we might just make some scales. We'll see. I may not actually do, because I've never made a knife before anyway. So me trying to do it live, and I don't really have time to make videos. So well, I don't know. We'll have to kind of see how that goes actually. I don't think the knives, they're pretty easy to make. They're not hard. It's just, it's one of those things. It's like, you know, people are kind of, they have trepidation about and I had it too, about doing the kitless pens, you know, and they're like, oh, it seems hard and there's so many things. I think knives are the same way. They're like super easy. But until you've done one, you're kind of like, I don't know what's happening. And the first one's always like kind of the hardest, you know. Slowest also. So it really may not be the greatest thing to do live. Oh, you make them now. You need to ship them over to the folks in the UK somehow. Get them over to Kim. Kim needs one. What we need is like free shipping somehow. Worldwide free shipping. Drone free shipping. Okay, so we got that done. Let's clean this guy off a little bit here. Wipe it off anyway. Welsh Piper's in the house. What's up? What are you up to this evening or morning? I'm not sure what time is it in the UK? It's later. I think. Pretty late. I remember correctly. Car trouble? That's no fun. Hope everything's okay. I got a little bit of car trouble. I'm leaking coolant, which is not great. Not a big deal, but gotta get that fixed. I called the auto shop and they're like, well, you can either come in tomorrow, which I couldn't. This was on, Thursday. I couldn't come in on Friday. And, or you can wait till the 19th. And I'm like, really? I'm like, I'll be out of coolant by then. So that ain't very fun. Ah, Sweden. 22, it's getting late. Getting to be around bedtime probably for most people. Okay, let's do a little bit of lengthwise. And so I go up to usually just the gray. You could go up to blue before you switch over to the magic juice if you wanted. I don't really see any point in going much higher than that. You're already beyond, probably beyond 2000 grit. And you're kind of working backwards at that point if you start at like step 1 with magic juice after you've gone to like the pink or, there's people used to like go through every single grit of, I just remember reading like forum posts or Facebook, whatever. And people would tell you that they do like every step of micro mesh. This was years ago. And then they would go and do buffing, starting with Tripoli, and I'm like, man, you're doing way more work than you need to, because you're literally, it'd be like saying, I'm going to sand up to 2,000 grit, then I'm going to drop down to 180. I'm exaggerating, but and then go through another type of sanding type thing. So you don't really need to do that. I mean, it's not a bad idea to maybe kind of go a little higher. That's why I was like, yeah, you could do blue, but usually I think gray is high enough. And then you're actually, I think, still stepping back just a little bit if you did buffing after that. Then, so, magic juice, I think you can get away with sanding up to somewhere between 1 and 2,000 grit. And you just don't need to go through every single, there's no reason to sand up to, 4,000 grit and then do every step of magic. Like you could basically just skip certain steps of magic juice and start at a higher one. I don't know which one it would be, but better to go in a straight line rather than back and forth. Oh, I forgot to lop the cap off. Let's do that right now. Lop the end off. So I'm going to have to go through and do some more sanding there. Okay, this stuff out of the way. Now, I think my caps are okay. Let's get the ruler out here real quick and estimate here. Somewhere in that general vicinity. Okay. There we go. We'll just sand up that top real quick. Get that all nice and pretty. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the results on these experiments that we did. I do have some other things that I'd like to try out that are really they're not so much like a pouring technique. It's totally different. So that'll have to be, we'll do that down the road sometime. Maybe we can do it next week. One thing I do need to make some more blanks for the blank club. So the first blank is going to be that green one, and so we got to make another one. And I don't really think that any of these ones are really. I'm not sending everybody a green and orange blank or a a blue, yellow, and green one. We'll make some better blanks for the pen blank club. So we'll either do that next week, or I might even just make, every once in a while, sometimes it's kind of fun to just do like a mystery kind of blank, like you didn't see it on the stream type blank. Because I always have some, random designs and cool ideas in the back of my brain that I just need to try out sometime. Okay, there's that. Is that a scratch or is it? Nope. Okay. All right. So we'll move on to the green guy here. Ugh. That's no fun. I know. That's true. It does make it tough with all the exchange rates, tariffs, and tax, duties, whatever, all those things. Just make things really, really difficult. We're pretty lucky. To ship to Canada or Mexico, I think I don't ship anything international because it's just a pain. Usually costs a lot, but I would be interested in looking into maybe adding Canada and Mexico, because I think that the U.S. Postal Service has made a few things a lot easier and simpler with those. You still don't get around I just had lots of issues when I used to ship internationally with packages getting lost, and then customers just complaining because they charge them so much for the taxes that they like double the price. And I don't think you don't know until they're like, oh, you have a package to pick up, and like, that'll be $100. And people were like, yeah, no, thanks. So I just quit doing it because it was just too rough on the customers, really. I mean, I don't really care personally. But people were not happy. And I'm like, well, I'd rather just not have unhappy customers, because I don't think that's a good way to do things. So, but Canada and Mexico is a little bit easier. I don't think you have like the tariffs and all that stuff, or taxes, or whatever you want to call it, import taxes. All right, and then the last step, the gray. Thanksgiving or Christmas color blank. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Actually, I got an idea for that. That it would have to be a secret one though. It'd be nice to have a Thanksgiving blanket too, I think. Why not? Depends on how much you eat for Thanksgiving. You might just need a blanket and a nap after dinner. I know I usually do. Okay, I didn't dry that off. Let's dry it off. And then we'll hit it with some magic juice. And like I said, we're not done with this one totally. It needs a section, but I can just pop in a random section and make sure everything works the way that it should. And it should be pretty good. So let's see here. What am I doing? Magic juice. I gotta go get some blue paper towel. It's the key. Secret ingredient. But overall, so what do you guys think about these techniques? Would you maybe employ some of these things? I mean, obviously, like the split cup thing is pretty good. And so you can either, if you have a 3D printer or access to one, a lot of libraries at this point have 3D printers that you can like use, and usually there's like people there that will help you. So there, there's free files online for those split cup things. I had a link. I'm pretty sure there's a link in last week's description to that, where the files for those. So the split cup thing, you can also just buy silicone ones online through like Amazon or wherever, and they work fine. They're a little bit harder to like with the 3D printed ones. I'm basically just reusing them, letting the resin cure in place in there. And then eventually I'm going to have to replace the things because they'll basically fill up with resin. But, you'll get a good number of uses out of them. I would, probably more than 10 uses per print. And I mean, the things maybe cost $1 to print out or whatever. I mean, it depends on how much you pay for the what filament you use, I guess. But it's pretty cheap to print the things out. I'm going to get this water out of the way because I'm spitting polish in there. And the silicone ones aren't that expensive. They're, like I said, they're kind of a little bit harder to clean out, I think. I don't know what the best way to do it is. I've tried I haven't tried the split cup ones, but I've tried just a silicone mixing cup. And it just like waiting for it to cure and then trying to pop it out. I thought that would be pretty easy. Compared to just a normal paint mixing cup, the silicone mixing cups were much harder to clean out and get all the stuff out of, I found. So I don't know. It may be, I don't know which way to go with those. I'm also a little bit lazy and I don't want to waste my time cleaning cups out too much. But either way, they're available. You can find them both ways. Even if you're going to go to the library, you're still going to need that file for them to print out, So make sure to check that out. Again, there's a link. Offhand, I don't know who the designer was, or whatever. But I think I got it on like Thingiverse or Printables or something like that. They work pretty good. All right, so step 3. So what's everybody doing for the rest of the day or weekend? Has anybody got any cool projects that they're working on? Did everybody finish up their ornament for the challenge? Get it sent in? I'm going to be playing with dyes. I know that for sure. So actually, I'll put it out there. If anybody, I don't need to change over, I don't need to do anything for my own products to be able to make custom solid colored blanks for any, if like basically if you need a certain like team or whatever color like matched, I feel pretty confident at this point that I can probably match any color, give or take. Now, one color that's a little bit difficult, and I'm trying to maybe find a workaround a little bit, a different product possibly even, like a real like violet, like purple. That one's proving a little bit difficult depending on the shade that you want. But I may have found a different pigment that'll get me where I want to be. So like there's a few that, especially like some of these vibrant, very vibrant colors can be tough. Just depends basically. But for the most part, I can pretty much match any color I think at this point. And so if you want solid blanks, I can do that, for, you know, whatever. I mean, there's going to be like a minimum order of them and stuff like that. But if you need anything like that made, I can do that now. Frankly, I've got a lot of colors already. One thing I need to kind of work on is red, all the different red shades. That's kind of a big project. There's a lot of blanks, a lot of teams that have red. And I need to establish kind of like a baseline so that I make sure that, you know, I get the right color. Because like I can do pretty close in a lot of ways using different methods, and I need to find the best method to get a baseline that'll make all the other ones a little bit easier to you know, to make also. But I've made a lot of headway on that. Oh, don't shake the bottle if it's open. It's really not a good idea, especially with number 6. That was fun. I don't like these caps either, guys. To be honest, I wish they had these, well, something like this, maybe with like a little bit less, like a smaller nozzle. Like this style, but with an actual cap that went on that too. Or something, I don't know. I don't know what the perfect bottle nozzle cap thing is. I haven't found it yet though, I'll tell you that. Chad's doing his, yeah, I know. I can't wait to see what you make. So, can you tell us what excuse me, what category you're doing? Very curious. Okay. Yard work. Ugh. I think I might be all done with yard work. It kind of depends on, there's still a lot of leaves on the trees. We got a couple like kind of mapley sort of trees around. And it also depends on which direction the wind blows. Because the neighbor behind us, they're to the north. They got like a pretty big, like a maple tree type thing. I'm not 100% sure if it's maple or not, but something like that, you know, maple, pretty much like a maple leaf type thing. So if the wind blows north to south, we're hosed. We're gonna have tons of leaves. But if we can get a good wind storm and it blows south to north, they're hosed and we don't have to worry. And that would be fabulous. And then we have one tree, but it's kind of sad and small. Not a lot going on. The leaves, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Oh, that feels nice. All right, so there we go. We got our cap. I think what I might do, it's pretty clean. Let me just look in here. Yeah, it looks pretty clean. One thing that I didn't do was get the bottom polished of this thing. Kind of forgot to do that. Not bad, it's fine, but. So, let's see here. I'm going to go find a section to pop in this thing. I need to make a section that I can use as like a test section thing. One of these days, let's see here, orange and blue. Well, I don't really have anything that's going to be spectacularly amazing. I thought I put, well, okay, we'll just go with this one. All right, so I'm going to put a converter in also just to make sure that everything fits the way that it should. Oh, just a little bit sticky. Sometimes you got to go back through and give it another quick tapping. If something's really tight, that's pretty good. Once I get all the parts done and I put some of the silicone stuff on. Oh, actually, you know what? I forgot that I cracked this. That's probably why. The threads are cracked on that, so that's probably why it's kind of messed up. I think a non-cracked thread one would probably fit fine. And then, let's see here. It almost kind of lines up even. I didn't even try to do that. This is pretty cool, actually. I mean, it's not that bad. I wish that it was a little bit more, not just like two-sided, but it's kind of cool, you know? What do you guys think about that? Obviously, the section is kind of weird, but not bad. And depending, you know, this is a triple start, so technically I could have it set up like that. That's kind of cool. I don't know, not bad. So let's see, what else do we got? We can go and assemble that Wolverine pen real quick. Let's see here. Ooh, a hollow. Metal and texture added in. Sweet. Good night. I just saw that. I hope you sleep tight. Okay, so let's get all these things out of the way here. I gotta find a Sierra kit for that one. Let's see here. Ooh, that's nice. I need to oh, that would be kind of cool. We're gonna go with one of the whatever you call this, carbon fiber look. I think that might look kind of cool. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Yeah. I don't really like that, actually. I think there's too much stuff going on. Doesn't seem to, it's not doing it for me. I think just a chrome one if I can find one. I need to stock up on kits again. Yeah, too busy. That's kind of what I was thinking. There's a lot happening, and you're like, what do I look at? I got a gunmetal. I wish I just had like a chrome one. You know? I do have the, let's see, what is this? That's a Gatsby, I guess. Whatever. I do have the, what is that? That's another Nomad. Oh, that's a Grande. Dang it. Maybe I have a Virage. That would be great. I do have some elements, but I would like to. Brass. Do I have a steel element? Let's take a look. Kit's on the way Tuesday. Sweet. I prefer the Sierras, Cigars, and Juniors typically, or Sierra variants. But if you want to throw in some random ones, I'm down with that too. Have you guys seen the Element kits? I still need to do, I've been waiting to do a patina on one, and time is against us, always. Let's see, how does this all work? I just get pressed in there. Oh, this goes like this. No, this goes like that. Okay. Okay. I'm figuring this stuff out as we go here. I'm guessing that's how you refill. Okay. Been a minute since I did. Oh shoot, where's the? Oh, there it is. I was like, where's the nib part? There it is. So the Element kits are cool. These are made by Turner's Warehouse. Let me get on camera. So they got an aluminum one, and they make these in Sierra, Cigar, and Junior, my favorites. But they got copper, and so the cool thing about these is you can patina these. And I want to do that someday. I just haven't had time. So they got, and this is like solid copper, guys. Have you seen these? These are the coolest kits, and I don't see as many people making these. You should try these out. So what you can do is you can like fume this stuff and age it basically, and put a patina on it, and so make it look like a shipwreck or something like that. Chad's made some really cool ones, and they even have like blanks. Where did I put those? Shoot. So like the actual blank is like a chunk of copper. Shoot, where did I put? Oh man, don't tell me I lost those things. I don't think I lost them. They're just not here. Huh. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so check this out. You can get a chunk of copper. And they have brass, they have copper, they have stainless steel. And so you can do this. So this is the actual like blank itself. So you wouldn't add a blank to it. And then you just put the whole pen together and you can patina the whole thing. Solid chunk of copper. It's pretty cool. So like I said, brass, copper, aluminum, and stainless steel. In the junior type, in the Sierra type, and the cigar. Pretty awesome. Okay, so let's try the aluminum. Oh, I think that'll look pretty good. What do you guys think about aluminum? And the interesting thing is aluminum is super light. So it really makes like, you know, for if somebody's like, oh, I don't like heavy pens, this aluminum kit is, it's super light. I mean, feather light. The stainless steel, if you like a heavier pen, the stainless steel is nice and heavy. So I think the brass and the copper are pretty weighty too. Not as heavy as the stainless steel though. Yeah, the copper's awesome. Yeah, solid metal, no plating. It's awesome. So I think I'm going to go with this because I don't really have anything else that's any better. I would have just gone with like a chrome probably. But I don't have any chrome Sierras because I tend to go through those. Boom! Look at that. I like that. Now the question is, do I split it or do I do one or the other? I kind of like the blue. I don't really, well, one thing that I could have done was hide that kind of green part. Of course, I put it on the wrong end. I'm going to pop this off real quick, actually. I think I'm going to do that. At least I'm going to look at it and see if I think that's a smart idea. Gotta find the right punch though. I don't want to have to convert my disassembling tool from assembling tool. No, I don't think that worked very well. Eek. Got the wrong size punch. There we go. Not sure. That didn't seem to want to be budging. Yeah, there it goes. Oh, almost lost it. All right, so let's see what this looks like. I can kind of hide the one area that has some of the green going on. Like this is the worst right there. I can just kind of hide that with the clip. I think I'm going to do that. Boom. Easy as pie. Ah. I was going a little sideways there for a minute, but we got it. We got it. Pretty cool. I'm kind of digging it. So we'll just unscrew this guy. I think you just pop the... I don't think it matters which way you go from. Pop the ink in there. And there it is. Got it a little bit dirty. Pretty sweet. We got a couple pens out of it. That one was just not very good though. So if you're going to do the, and like I said, this kind of, for the blues in the Divine Pigments, probably any, if you're going to try with Alumilite dyes, because that's another thing you could do, is if you have Alumilite dyes, you can mix the blue and the white dye. These are, you know, these are the Alumilite ones. I just buy the gigantic things and then put them in smaller. So you can mix those two, but and put it in clear, and it's going to be opaque, similar to Divine Pigments. It's not the same thing, just to let you know, but the other way to go is Divine Pigments, of course. So if you're going to go with like a blue and yellow one, so they got like their sunny yellow, and they have their like lagoon blue, or any of the blues really. I think that you're going to run into problems trying to mix it up, stir it up. I don't think there's a way to do it without getting bleeding going on, but the split cups seem to work. These things are amazing, actually. And I was like, oh, this will be kind of silly. We'll see if it works. I had no hope that the split cup thing was actually going to be cool. And it's probably one of the most useful tools that you can have in your shop if you're doing casting. So anyway, guys, I'm pretty excited. And this is a pretty neat looking, I like this pen. I need to finish the section still, but I'm very happy with how this turned out. Not bad. Another thing that I was looking at is just, I haven't made a fountain pen with any of these like kind of team color type variants myself, with the new resin and all that kind of stuff. So I also just wanted to see, you know, how does it look kind of thing. Just wanted to make one. And I'm pretty happy. They look pretty good. So anyway, guys, let's see here. Do they patina naturally? Yeah, they will patina naturally also with your, like the finger oils and all that kind of stuff. But that's going to take like months, years kind of thing. But you can use, you know, like there's different ways to do it. I don't know all the exact ways, but I think you can use like ammonia. Honestly, I think there's something like a salt and, I don't know. There's like different chemicals that you can add. Bleach might even be one to fume it in something. So you'd basically just create fumes. And there's lots of things, you know, online where you videos and different stuff. Chad's probably got videos on how he's done his, what chemicals and all that stuff. It's a pretty cool process though. And you can patina copper, brass, obviously not stainless steel, but in aluminum doesn't really, I don't think, patina in any way. But the copper and the brass ones both will react to different stuff. So yeah, vinegar, that's the one. Vinegar, thank you. But there's other ones too. There's other different ways you can do it. So I need to do a short, I'll tell you what, the easiest way to disassemble pens, I don't know if you saw, sorry, I guess I didn't really think about that. Get yourself the punch set, which I think Turner's Warehouse might even have these now. But you can get them on Amazon or Harbor Freight. So you get a set of punches. If you don't have one already, pen makers use these a lot for different types of things. Also useful for the blank squaring jig. And this is a gem, guys. This tool, again, it's another Turner's Warehouse. And I know that I talk about Turner's Warehouse stuff all the time, but 2 reasons. They're sponsoring the show, so I mean, what do you expect? But it's not because of that. They have awesome stuff. So if you guys have a disc sander or a sanding machine of some sort, the squaring jig is one of the greatest things on the planet. I used to swear by the pen mills, mainly because they were simple. But the problem was you had to have very sharp. You had to constantly sharpen those stupid things, and they were very tough to sharpen. The squaring jig, you just put a punch in it, put your blank on. I don't have a blank, but I have a tube. And then you just get your miter gauge or a fence, you know, on your sander, and you just go in and, oh my God, seriously, it'll take 2 seconds to do. It's dead square as long as you set your fence up properly, which is, you know, you just use a square to set it up, and it is awesome. And you're never going to blow up a blank or do anything like that with because that's always what people kind of worry about with the pen mills. Definitely you can't do that on delicate blanks. I wouldn't do that on a 3D print mix. Probably I wouldn't. This thing's great. So, but you do need to use a set of punches with it. So that's another reason to get one. But you get yourself a punch, and all you do is, let's see if I have a pen here somewhere. Let's just take apart a pen that I made. I've got a few laying around. Yeah, that one's not, this one's nothing special. Okay, so here's another Sierra. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the nib, take out the nib's side, and so all we have is this. Now, it may seem difficult on like a junior where you've got pressed in parts on both sides. Obviously, we don't have pressed in parts on a Sierra on both sides. So all you have to do on a Sierra is but make sure you find the correct punch. One other thing that I need to do though is on a Sierra, make sure, I almost screwed up. What you need to do is pull it apart because you need to pull the transmission out. But you find the correct size punch, find whatever punch fits as close as possible to the tube. And then, let's see here. And then grab yourself a hammer with a little bit of weight to it. And all I would actually put gloves on, just because it gives you a little bit more grip. And then you just hold the thing and then just beat it. I would probably recommend putting like a towel down, but all you have to do is just pound it out basically, and it'll eventually, you know, work itself out. So that's the simplest method. The other way to go is you can use this, the pen vise that I'm using. The reason I bought that one, that's the wrong camera, is because it can be reorganized into a disassembly jig. So for very difficult things or things that you really don't want to be smacking on, you know, like you really need it to just kind of come apart, this setup can work pretty good in some cases. But for most people, the punch set and a hammer is really the way to do it. Now for a junior or something like I was saying, like a cigar, where you've pressed parts in both sides, what you need to do is find the punch that will fit through one side, but not the other. All right, and so you just got to kind of play with your punch set until you find one that works that way. So that's all you got. I don't think I need to smack that thing. You're literally just hitting the punch with a hammer. But you do need something. You need a hammer. You need something that's got mass to it. Because at first I was using like one of those plastic-ended hammers, and it wasn't putting enough force through the punch into the piece. But you know, technically, you could damage the components, you know, pounding on it like that. So, you know, there is a risk of that, but I got to be honest, I can't remember the last time I actually broke, like really damaged the components of anything. Unless, you know, like I actually screwed up. I grabbed the wrong size punch. I thought it was the one that I wanted, and it was thinner, and it kind of lodged into the component. So I was a little bit scared there. Get the one that's all like perfect size for your, like the tube, the brass tube, and you'll be good to go. Yeah, Turner's does have the punch set. I'm telling you, the punch set is, every pen turner needs the punch set because there's so many things. So anyway, guys, I think that's about it. I got to go get some lunch because I'm starving. But thanks for joining the fun, for seeing what we could make with these things. Like I said, I have a couple more ideas. I'm going to say they're just like long shot, wild shots in the dark, on other things that might maybe keep things from bleeding a little bit. And it's not really a technique. It's a different type of take on trying to do that. And I have absolutely no clue if it's actually going to work at all. But it should be kind of interesting to see. I don't know. But anyway, let's see here. I think that's about it, guys. So again, don't forget, November 15th, it's scrolling on the top. And you have to get, like, the ornament has to be in Turner's Warehouse's hands by the 15th. So not like postmark it and ship it on the 15th, like ship it, you know, before then. So like we're getting to the point where you need to have those things like in the mail pretty soon here, especially depending on where you are in the country. Get them over there so that you don't get late and miss out on the challenge part, you know, the contest side of it. But also, so that, you know, the whole point is we're trying to raise money for St. Jude. So make sure to get those guys in there, and so that they can auction them and we can raise some money. So, oh, thanks, Chad. I appreciate it. Awesome. And there's a balloon and is that a three? Balloon 3. Woo! I like that. They have the weirdest things on YouTube. It's pretty crazy. But anyway, guys, thank you all for joining the fun tonight, for hanging out, seeing what we could make. I'm telling you guys, you all can make the custom pens, the handmade ones, the bespoke. So if you're like afraid, or you know, you're like, I don't know if I can do that, go get some of the simple stuff and just start drilling and tapping, and you'll find that these things are super easy to make. So anyway, guys, again, thank you for joining the fun, and I will see you guys all on the next stream.